Pluto is a planet like no other. It is at the very edge of our solar system. Nobody from the United States has ever found a celestial body before now. Even though scientists have been studying Pluto for more than 30 years, they still don't know a lot about it. Since Pluto is so far from Earth and we can't send a spaceship there, it's been hard to find out more about it. Still, thanks to the wonders of science and astronomy, we can find, figure out, and guess a lot about this mysterious planet. In this video, we'll talk about the James Webb Telescope and what it found on Pluto. Is Pluto actually the largest dwarf planet? Why is Pluto no longer a planet? And what is the James Webb Telescope's new plan? Pluto used to be thought of as the 9th and most distant planet from the Sun. Now, scientists know that it's the largest dwarf planet in the solar system. The Kuiper Belt is a region beyond the orbit of Neptune that has 1 billion or more asteroids and hundreds of millions of icy, rocky planets that are more than 62 miles across. Pluto lost its planet status in 2006 when it changed to a dwarf planet. This reclassification caused a divide between scientists and the general public. In 1905, American astronomer Percival Lowell thought that Pluto was made when he saw strange changes in the orbits of Neptune and Uranus. Lowell thought that the gravity of something else might be making the ice giants orbit wrong. Lowell was right about where the mysterious planet was in 1915, but by the time it was found 15 years later, he was already dead. Still, Lowell and other astronomers made predictions that led to the discovery of Pluto by Clyde Tombaugh at the Lowell Observatory in 1930. At age 11, Venetia Burney of Oxford, England, told her uncle that Pluto should be named after a Roman god. In the end, her grandfather chose the name for the observatory. The fact that Pluto's name starts with the letters P and L is a tribute to the astronomer Percival Lowell. Because Pluto's orbit is so strange, it can go 49 times further away from the Sun than Earth. Pluto's distance from the Sun changes a lot because its orbit is very eccentric and not circular. For 20 of Pluto's 248 Earth-year orbits, the dwarf planet is nearer to the Sun than Neptune is. This gives astronomers a once-in-a-lifetime chance to study this tiny frozen world far from Earth. In 1999, Pluto passed Neptune in the distance from the Sun. Pluto had been the 8th planet for 20 years. As Pluto gets closer to the Sun, the ice on its surface temporarily melts, releasing an atmosphere that is mostly nitrogen and not much methane. As Pluto moves away from the Sun, it's thought that its atmosphere will freeze and disappear. But when Pluto is in atmosphere, it can handle wind speeds that are very fast. Changes in the brightness of the atmosphere could be prompted by gravitational waves or wind moving over mountains. It's not likely that liquids might flow across Pluto's surface right now, but they probably did in the past. Images taken by New Horizons in the Tombaugh Regio show what looks like an old canal system surrounding a frozen lake. It's possible that the planet's atmosphere used to be about 40 times thicker than Mars. In 2016, astronomers said that they had used data from New Horizons to find clouds in Pluto's atmosphere. 7 amazing things had been found near the Terminator, where clouds often gather. Even though these geographic features are about the same size and have low elevations, they are easy to tell apart. If these are clouds, they are likely made of acetylene, ethane, and hydrogen cyanide. Pluto was thought to be the 9th planet inside the Sun for 76 years. It didn't care that it was the smallest planet in the solar system and that its moon was only half the size of the planet. Even though its orbit was much more oval than round, it didn't matter. It would be too simple to say that Pluto was strange. In her book The Planets, which came out in 2005, science journalist Dava Sobel wrote about planets. She said that children understand how small they are. Adults will be able to connect to it because it's also a stranger. People were moved to protect Pluto. So maybe it wasn't so strange that individuals were outraged 15 years ago when Pluto was demoted from planet to dwarf planet. The International Astronomical Union has changed what it means to call something a planet. Catherine Cesarski is sure that they chose the right thing. In 2006, she was the president of the IAU. She is an astronomer at CEA Saclay in France at the moment. She says that Pluto is indeed very different from the rest of the planets in our solar system. Even more, in the years leading to Pluto's reclassification, astronomers have found many objects outside of our solar system that are like Pluto. Without adding a few more planets, it would not have been possible to take Pluto off the list, so it wasn't as hard to get rid of Pluto. Sasarki says it was never on purpose to move Pluto down the list of planets. She and others liked putting Pluto in the group of dwarf planets that had just been found. Some people who study these same planets and stars agree. Jean-Luc Margot was one of them, and he went to the school at the University of California, Los Angeles. The decision to call it a dwarf planet was praised as a victory of science over emotion. He also said that the scientific method requires people to be open to the ideas that their old ideas could have been wrong. Put Pluto in its place. No one agrees on it. Jim Bell says it's not fair to make planets clean up trash and space around them. He has a lab at Arizona State University in Tempe for studying planets. Bell says that when it relates to getting rid of the trash, everything comes down to how it looks. So that isn't a reason to say Pluto doesn't exist. He thinks that any place with interesting geology should be considered a planet. You can use the saying, where you are doesn't matter as much as what you are here. Geology is, without a doubt, one of the most interesting things about Pluto. Since 2006, we've recognized that Pluto does have an atmosphere, and it's likely that there are clouds there too. It has frozen nitrogen fields, mountains made of methane, and mountains made of water ice. There are also volcanoes and dunes there. As with all of the rocky planets in the inner solar system, the geology of this one is both interesting and always changing. As a result, Philip Metzger decided that Pluto is, in fact, a planet. Metzger said there was an immediate reaction to that stupid IAU definition. He works at UCF in Orlando as a planetary scientist, but science is based on real-world evidence. Metzger and his co-workers are very sure that the IAU's definition of planet is wrong, so they've started gathering evidence to prove it. Even though it will be able to study the solar system, which is not the James Webb's main job, despite the fact that it will be able to see details on Pluto's surface, it won't be able to do so much better than Hubble. So James Webb images should have the same level of detail. James Webb might look at Pluto once in a while to see if the seasonal changes Hubble saw in the 1990s and 2000s are still there. They won't be as good as the ones taken last year by the New Horizons mission though. Now that Pluto's no longer a planet, the Kuiper Belt, which includes Pluto now that it's a dwarf planet, will come into the spotlight. This year, one of the first things the James Webb Space Telescope will do is look at Pluto and some of the other thousands of objects in the Kuiper Belt. These things, called Kuiper Belt objects or trans-Neptunian objects, have a wide range of colors, shapes, sizes, groupings, and geological and atmospheric activity. Even though many spacecraft like NASA's New Horizons mission has flown by these bodies, they only had brief chances to see them. Scientists will be able to look at the objects for a much longer time than Webb's sensitive infrared cameras. Scientists will also look at the data to learn more about how the solar system came to be. Jonathan Lunine, an astronomer at Cornell University and a Webb transdisciplinary scientist, has said that these asteroids are in the graveyard of planetary system development. But he said that these things have existed for billions of years and might keep going on for longer. Webb will also look into centaurs, objects that used to be in the Kuiper Belt but have changed their paths so that they are closer to the Sun and orbit between Jupiter and Neptune. Triton, the moon of Neptune, is one of these things. Even though it is technologically Neptune's moon, there is proof that it is an object from the Kuiper Belt that was pulled into an orbit around Neptune after it got too close to Neptune by accident. When it was launched in December 2021, the James Webb Space Telescope would soon be ready for prime time. That's all for today. Tell us what you think about the James Webb Telescope and Pluto in a comment. Also, if you enjoyed the video, make sure to like it and subscribe to our channel. Stay tuned till next time.